Caesar, former proconsul of Gaul, and first spear Centurion Gaius Crastinus. You have what it takes to be a member of the greatest fighting force ever to march on the eagles of Rome. Before you answer that question, consider this. What do Achilles and Hector of the Trojan War, Leonidas the Lion King of Sparta, and Alexander the Great all have in common? They all would have had to have trained hard, be worthy of joining the general's beloved 10th Legion. I'm only going to say this once. There are those of you who already know, you know. Those of you who don't, you don't. The Senate has declared war on Caesar and his legions. I find that amusing, since the first thing they did after declaring war was to tuck tail and run to Greece under the command of their general, Gaius Pompeyus. I refuse to use the cognomen that man is so fond of. He likes to call himself Magnus, as if he were another Alexander the Great. But I ask you, would Alexander tuck tail and run from the enemy? I don't think so. Make no mistake, I never underestimate an enemy, even one who does run from a fight, but especially not one who has Titus Labienus leading his troops. While we were in Gaul over the last 10 years, Labienus was the legatus, or the commander of the 10th Legion. He was Caesar's right-hand man, and I fought proudly at his side. He was a fierce warrior, loyal to his general, more than capable of winning. Just to give you an example, several years ago we were fighting the Belgae in the north. My legion, the 10th, stationed with the 9th, over on the left wing. Labienus gave the command, we hurled our spears, we broke the enemy apart. Then we drew our swords and slaughtered a large number of them down by the river's edge. Then Labienus commanded us to pursue the stragglers up the hill on the other side of the river. And it was a good thing he did. Because when we got to the top, we could see that the Roman troops over on the right part of the line were in trouble. So Labienus ordered the 10th to march at double speed. Well, when those troops saw the 10th coming, they took heart. Together we routed the enemy. Just last year, Caesar put Labienus in charge of all of Gaul on the nearest side of the Alps. And if you ask me, it was to help Labienus' chances of getting elected consul. Which is why a lot of people feel betrayed that he's now gone over to the side of Pompeius. And I'm one of them. Some people say it's because he and Pompeius are from the same region of Italy, down around Picenum. Others that Labienus is more loyal to Rome than he is to Caesar. Ultimately, I don't know and I don't care. I'm not a politician. What I know is that I'm loyal to my general, and that's why I'm here today, recruiting for the 10th Legion. And there's many reasons why you would want to join an elite fighting force like the 10th. First of all, there's the pay. You get paid 75 denarii every 4 months. Now try making that as a farmer. You have to depend on the gods to make your crops grow. And if they don't, what are you going to do? Now in the legions, you can make a good wage. You serve for 16 years, then you can be discharged with the gratitude of your general. You can go back to your family, enjoy the spoils of war. He may even give you a little plot of land on which to start a farm of your own. But as the beneficiarius of your general's generosity, you must always be ready to come when he calls. Take me, for example. Toward the end of our time, waging war in Gaul, Caesar appointed me primus pilus, first-rank centurion of the 10th. Shortly after that, I was discharged, and I just started to settle back into family life. My family's got a small farm up around Mantua. When I got the call from Caesar to recruit for his war against Pompeius, I came running. Now, in addition to the pay, you'll find the best medical care in the world right here in the Roman army. We have the best doctors anywhere in the Roman legions, not like the quacks you have out here in the provinces. In a proper Roman camp, you're going to find bathhouses, drains, latrines to keep you clean. On top of that, we're going to make sure you have plenty to eat, enough for 2 square meals a day. Now, it's true, we deduct the cost of the food from your pay, but how we make sure you've got plenty to keep you in tough fighting form. Give you grain to make bread, plenty of fruits, vegetables, and don't let anybody tell you we don't eat meat in the legions. Of course we eat meat. We hunt, we fish. And what do you think happens to the cattle after we slaughter them for their leather? We eat beef, of course. Now, if you're used to a finer vintage wine, maybe a nice Caecubon or Falernian, now you might be a little disappointed. We drink a sterner stuff in the legions, a bitter wine drink called a Cato. I guess what I'm trying to say is this. If you want to live a long life, join the legions. Now, it may sound strange to you. Don't people die in the legions? Of course they do. But not as many as die on the other side of the field of battle, I can guarantee you that. Neither I nor Caesar himself gives a quarter denarius if you're out for some kind of individual glory. If you fight the way we trained you to fight, as a unit, you'll come home alive. You let Caesar worry about the glory. Now, when it comes to that, Caesar's a very generous man. He likes to give hasta pura. It's a miniature spear as a prize for individual valor. Sometimes he takes the armilli, these golden armbands, or a turquoise, one of those twisted metal necklaces, takes them off the bodies of dead barbarians who won't be using them anymore. He passes them out as prizes to the men. Of course, the most coveted of all the dona militaria are the coronae, the crowns. You might get one of those for being the first soldier over the wall of a city, or helping relieve a besieged garrison. But the rarest of all is the corona civica. You only get that for directly saving the life of a Roman citizen in battle. So let's say you've got it in your head that you want to fight with the greatest fighting force that the world has ever known. Your first step is to endure a physical examination. Caesar's looking for young men about 5'7" to 6 feet tall. Sorry, ladies, he doesn't have any Amazons fighting in his army. Now, he prefers you boys from the country. You rural lads, now you're tough already, although we know how to make you tougher. Some of you city boys got to learn how to get your hands dirty first. No matter where you're from, we can take you, train you into a true son of Mars. Now, if you don't pass your physical, there's still plenty of things you could do. I've already mentioned doctors. We need blacksmiths, carpenters, leather workers, tradesmen of all kinds. There's a good life to be had for civilians following the legions around. You do pass your physical, however. Your next step is to take your sacramentum, your oath of loyalty, to your general. That's true. We fight for Rome. But your pietas, your loyalty, is to your general. Something that Labienus seems to have forgotten. It's that sort of fierce loyalty, disciplined training, that are allowing us to conquer the known world. How else do you think we could go up against Gauls who are more numerous, Germans who are often bigger, Africans who are more cunning, Greeks who are trickier and more deceptive? We'll train you how to run, jump, swim, all while wearing your full armor. Teach you to use your scutum, your pilum, and your gladius. And you will learn a trade It's Roman soldiers who are building siege engines, bridges, roads, aqueducts. And when you get back to camp, you will have a particular task to perform, or you will feel a stick like this across your back. I understand. You want to hear about some of this armor. You want to see it in action. Maybe you even want to try some of it on. But before you can do that, you have to understand something about the authority structure in the Roman army. At the top is the dukes, the general. In our case, that is Gaius Julius Caesar. If he even suspects your father of being a spy, your only response is to ask leave to send that traitor to the underworld. Beneath him is the legatus, the commander of the legion. As I've said, until recently that was Titus Labienus. Commander of the 10th is now Caesar's friend, Marcus Antonius. Each legion is then divided into 10 cohorts of anywhere from 360 to, say, 480 men each. Each cohort is divided up into 6 centuries of about 60 to 80 men each. You, along with 7 others, will form a contubernium, and the 8 of you will share a tent and various responsibilities around camp. You will report to someone like me, your centurion. It's our job as centurions to make sure that you follow the commands of the general exactly. These are commands that we will have heard from the legatus, who has gotten them directly from the dukes himself. And you will follow those directions exactly, or you will feel this stick across your back. This is a centurion's witness. Not only is it a badge of honor for a centurion to carry, but it is an invaluable tool of close infantry training. When you feel a stab like this crack across your shoulders, especially after it's been soaked in salt water, you will know pain. You will be a soldier fit for the 10th Legion. Don't think that's harsh. That is nothing compared with what your fellow soldiers could do to you. If, for example, you fell asleep on guard duty. By Roman law, they are allowed to club you to death. It's only fair. You put their lives in danger. So you're still wanting to hear about the weapons that are conquering the known world? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
We'll start with the extremes. Our head, our feet. On your head, you're gonna wear the gallia. This protects you in multiple ways. You'll notice an extended neck guard in the back. You'll notice also a reinforced brow guard in the front. Many of the enemies that we fight use their swords in a slashing motion. Neck guard in the back, brow guard in the front will protect you, keep your head from getting chopped off or your skull split open. The most innovative part of the Roman helmet is the way the sides are formed. You see the flaps that come down to protect my face, but leave my ears open. Many soldiers in other parts of the world, especially in Greece, wear helmets that completely encase their heads in metal. That would not work for the way the Roman army functions. We arrange our soldiers in what we call the triplex acies, or a triple battle line. 3 lines of soldiers on the field. This allows the dukes to move troops around as needed. It's a flexible arrangement. So if he needs to move some troops here or some troops there, he can do it. And with our ears open, we can hear commands on the field of battle. One of the most effective ways to move troops is through the bravest man in any legion, the Aquilothere. The Aquilothere is the standard bearer. This man carries a pole with a golden eagle on top. This is why you hear us talk about marching with the eagles. And that man has to be the bravest man in the entire legion. It's his job to get a command from the general, and when he moves with that eagle, the entire legion moves with him. I'll give you an example of how this works. The Aquilothere of my legion, the 10th, is Gaius Crastinus. In all my years of service, I've never seen a braver man. Several years ago, Caesar decided that we should invade that island north of Gaul called Britannia. So he loaded us up in the boats, we sailed across, we landed, and it was not our finest moment. None of us, including me, wanted to disembark. Because what we saw was the strangest sight we had ever seen. There, in front of these snow-white cliffs, were a bunch of naked blue men. These natives had stained their bodies, head to toe, in a blue substance called woad. They were jumping up and down, screaming in their barbaric language. We didn't even know if they were human. No one wanted to get off the ships. But it was Crastinus, Aquilothere of the 10th. He held that eagle aloft. He jumped down out of the ship and splashed into the water. He turned around and looked at us, and I will never forget these words as long as I live. He looked at us and he said, "Follow me, men, unless you want to surrender this eagle to the enemy. At least I know I've done my job. For the Republic and my general." Well, the 10th immediately disembarked. When the other troops saw the 10th leading the way, they disembarked as well. That just shows you what one dedicated Roman can do. Now, when you join the legions, you'll probably get a helmet that looks a little bit different from mine. You're gonna get one that looks more like this. Years ago, the days of my grandfather, you simply brought whatever armor you had. Every soldier looked a little bit different. But it was Caesar's uncle Marius who changed all that. General Marius decided that everybody should be equipped the same. And so he made sure that everyone had the same shape and the same kind of helmet and armor. And we deduct the cost of your armor from your pay. We make sure everyone is outfitted the same. You'll notice my helmet is a little more decorative. We've been employing some Gallic blacksmiths lately. They've made some nice changes. I think my helmet looks quite nice. Don't you? Yes. I thought so. Now you'll also notice that my helmet comes equipped with a crista, or a crest. Goes side to side, and that's the symbol of my rank as a centurion. It allows you to see me in battle. If you can't see me, that means you are out of formation. And that means you are putting lives in danger. And you will have an appointment with the witness when we get back to camp. Now on your feet, you'll wear your colleague. Those of you who are close, you'll be able to see. These are hobnailed sandals. They allow us to march over any kind of terrain and give us good traction. Roman soldiers are known to march for up to 20 miles in a day. Caesar has even pushed some of his men as far as 24 miles in a day, all while carrying their equipment in their packs. That sort of speed is actually what gave us our first victory about 10 years ago when we were in Gaul. There's this tribe Oh, they hell wet to eat. They wanted to migrate, and they decided to pass through Roman-held territory. Caesar, of course, told them no. Not about to let barbarians march through Roman-held territory. They didn't listen. Well, Caesar marched the troops at double speed. We got there before they finished crossing the Arar River. When we did, we slaughtered a full quarter of that tribe. And interestingly enough, Caesar managed to avenge a personal insult as well, because it was that same tribe that had once humiliated a Roman army. They had defeated an entire Roman army and forced them to walk under the yoke. They planted 2 spears in the ground, tied another spear across the top, humiliated those Roman soldiers by making them bow down and walk underneath. Of course, they were able to do that because they'd already killed the general of that army, Caesar's father-in-law's grandfather. That's right, Caesar got revenge for his father-in-law's grandfather. That just shows you that Romans never forget, and we always get revenge. Covering the middle part of your body will be your lorica hamata, your armor, your mail. This is made of interlocking iron rings, provides a nice range of flexibility, still move easily, but it provides great protection. As I said before, many of our enemies fight with a slashing motion, using their swords. Very little is going to make it through this, if they even get a blade on you at all. And I say if. Because if you are fighting the way we've trained you to fight, no one should get a blade on your body, because you will know how to use your scutum. Scutum. Here's your shield. It's made of a wooden frame, stretched dried leather over the outside. It's got a bronze rim, a large bronze umbo, or boss, in the middle. And you notice as I'm holding this thing will protect you from chin to shin. Very little is going to get through this. Certainly if a spear or an arrow strikes the umbo, it's going to be deflected off. But in addition to being a defensive piece of armor, the scutum can also be used offensively. In the press of battle, if you slam this down on another man's foot, it will shatter his foot bones. If you ram the umbo into his stomach, it will knock out his wind. And as he's gasping for breath, if you bring this up sharply under his chin, you can shatter his skull. You can take a man's life just with your scutum. Now, the other function of the scutum is also defensive, but it's the reason we fight in formation. Hold your scutum and it covers you, but also the man next to you. And when you have a full line of soldiers covering each other, nothing gets through that. This is why you always fight in formation. Something that one of my foolish friends forgot. Every time I go to recruit, I have to tell the story. A friend of mine, his name Titus Pullo, over in the 11th Legion. Now, he was a centurion, and he and a friend of his, Lucius Vorenus, were both trying to get the same promotion that I got over in the 10th Legion, Primus Pilus. And each one was always trying to prove that he was more of a man, trying to prove that he was more of a soldier than the other guy. One day they were out fighting the Nervi, one of the Gallic tribes. This fool Pullo, he gets out in front of the rest of the troops. Now, as a centurion, he knew better than that. But he got out in front of the troops, got out alone, One of the enemy spears came flying in, pierced his sword belt. He couldn't get his sword out, it was stuck. Suddenly the idiot finds himself surrounded by barbarians. It turns out that the man that he was trying to best, Lucius Vorenus, came to his aid, rescued him. I think I'm showing it here as an example of what not to do. Now, at this point, I've only got 2 more pieces of weaponry to show you. Everything so far has been defensive, and there's a reason for that. As I said at the beginning, we train you to kill, but more importantly, we train you to stay alive. I'm assuming none of you has ever been in battle. But it is one of the most fearsome places this side of the underworld. It is natural to want to run, no matter how tough you think you are. Which is why you will see your centurion with that Christa in front. And lest you think that you're going to back up and run away, I have a second in command, every centurion does, called an optio. He is in the back, pushing you forward. May the gods help you if you ever do break ranks and run. Because I won't. Not only will you meet with this witness when you go back to camp, but if your cowardice should infect the entire legion, and the entire legion should break and run, now the general is allowed to line up the entire legion and kill every 10th man. Bravery, valor, that's what holds a legion together. Your first offensive weapon is your pilum. The long Roman spear. One of the things you'll notice about it has this extra long shaft of iron point at the end. The way this works, when this gets launched and it sticks in a barbarian shield or a barbarian body, the weight of the wooden shaft will cause that iron point to bend. And even if the enemy does manage to extract it, they now have a useless weapon to throw back against you. You notice the other end of the pilum is pointed as well. And the reason for that, it gives you stability while you are standing. Much of your time in the army is spent standing and waiting for the command from your centurion or your legatus. You do not throw your pilum until you're commanded. So you will stand, you will hold, you will wait, you will wait, you will wait until you get the command. Pila parate. Get the pila ready. You bring your pilum into position, and you'll take 3 steps forward. Unus, duo, trace. And you will hold. And you will wait. And you will wait. And when you hear the command, pila yakete, you will hurl your pila, and the battle begins. At that point, you need no further instruction, because you will now be using your gladius. Roman gladius. They say Roman. It was originally the gladius hispaniensis. It's Spanish in design. One of the things the Romans are good at is taking things from other people. We see something you've got that we like, we'll take it. The Spaniards had a good design for a sword. The Roman gladius. Now it's made for killing in multiple ways. Yes, it's got a sharp edge with which you can slice. We train you to use it primarily as a stabbing weapon. When you're covered by your scutum, you keep your gladius parallel to the ground. Step forward and stab, pull back and cover. Step forward and stab, pull back and cover. By keeping your blade parallel to the ground, you can slide in between the ribs of an enemy, pull it out, and be on the way to the next victim, while the first is on his way to the underworld. Turn your blade, it may get caught up in his bones. You're stuck trying to pull your blade out of a corpse, and the enemy could move in on you. You will notice I carry my gladius on my left. I'd better never catch you doing the same. You will carry your gladius on your right. You do not move the gladius to the other side until you are a centurion, should the gods favor you, and you be so lucky. Hope you had a sense of what the Roman army is like. Hope you're inspired by the spirit of Mars to join us. And I hope to see many of you in Caesar's legions.